time in its track's history, the world's fastest half mile will be part of NASCAR's chase for the championship. But tonight, 4 drivers' dreams go up in smoke at a venue that encourages beating and banging, bumper-to-bumper racing with a little bit of anger management. Welcome to the final race of the NASCAR Playoffs Round of 16. Welcome to the night race at Bristol. It is expected to be a very crisp night here in Bristol, Tennessee. Temperature expected to be in the mid-40s, wind just a little bit of wind east-northeast from the racetrack, 4 miles an hour, but most importantly, 0% chance of rain for tonight's event. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the studio, and welcome back to the episode of MDK RaceDay. My name is Jett Krause. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day as I fill you in with everything you need to know for the night race at Bristol. It's one of the most anticipated races of the campaign, like I said, with the change of Bristol moving into a playoff race and being the cutoff race for the round of 16. Sparks will sure fly and tempers will sure flare here tonight. We already have seen some incredible racing this whole weekend with ARCA racing, the trucks, and last night Xfinity. Congratulations to Chase Briscoe and I guess you could say a 2-time race weekend winner in Sam Meyer for winning both the ARCA and Truck Series races. Congratulations to those 2 drivers. Now, as we all know, at the end of tonight's race, 4 drivers will end their playoff dreams here tonight from the last great Coliseum. And this episode, I'm going to give you my thoughts on who I believe those bottom 4 will be. But without further ado, let's jump in tonight with this episode. Let's first start off with the Inside the Lines rapid fire. 3 stories all revolve around the world of IndyCar. Our first story revolves around the news that just broke earlier in the week. The NTT IndyCar Series will add a street race in downtown Nashville, Tennessee to its 2021 schedule, announcing Tuesday that the inaugural Music City Grand Prix will take place from the 6th to the 8th of August. In a multi-year agreement, Nashville will be IndyCar's first new street course in 7 years. The 11-turn 2.17 mile circuit will cross the Korean Veterans Memorial Bridge twice over the Cumberland River and employ parking lots adjacent to Nissan Stadium as its paddock. Up next, a new driver will be making his debut in the NTT IndyCar Series. 2-time defending Supercars champion Australian Scott McLaughlin will make his debut with Team Penske in the October 25th season finale at St. Petersburg, Florida. The 27-year-old drove for Penske in preseason IndyCar testing at the Circuit of the Americas, as well as Sebring International Raceway and the Texas Motor Speedway, and he was announced on February 5th to make his debut with the team at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course before the COVID-19 pandemic delayed the start of the season. And more good news for IndyCar fans. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway has announced that it will welcome up to 10,000 fans for the October 1st to 4th Harvest Grand Prix IndyCar Series events. 2 fan zones will be created in the Turn 1 and Turn 4 area, where groups of 5,000 tickets will be sold for each region in the oval grandstands. According to IMS, attendees will receive a mask and hand sanitizer in an effort to ensure safety protocols are followed. And now let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Bass Pro Shops NRA night race at Bristol. Due to his win last Saturday night at Richmond, Brad Keselowski will start off the race from the pole alongside with his Team Penske teammate Joe Logano. Row 2 has Martin Truex Jr. and Kevin Harvick. Row 3 is filled with Chevrolets. On the inside is Austin Dillon, NASCAR's newest potential playoff contender, and to his outside is Chase Elliott, winner of the NASCAR All-Star race from this very racetrack back in July. Row 4 has Denny Hamlin, and to his outside Alex Bowman, and rounding out row 5 is Kyle Busch and Eric Almirola. Row 6 has teammates Clint Bowyer and Cole Custer. Row 7 has Kurt Busch and Ryan Blaney in the 12 car. Row 8 has William Byron and Matt DiBenedetto. Row 9 has Tyler Reddick and rookie Christopher Bell. Row 10 has Matt Kenseth and the 20 car of Eric Jones. Row 11 has JTG Daughtry teammates and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Ryan Preece. Row 12 has Chris Buescher number 17 car and Jimmy Johnson racing in potentially his final night race at Bristol start. Row 13 has 4 drivers Ryan Newman and Michael McDowell. Row 14 has Bubba Wallace and Ty Dillon. Both are entering this race for the first time as free agents for 2021. Row 15 has another free agent driver and Daniel Suarez, as well as the 32 car of Corey LaJoie. Row 16 has rookie John Hunter Nemechek and JJ Yaley, who will be replacing Brenton Poole for this race. Row 17 has rookie Quinn Houff and Reed Sorensen in the 77 car. Row 18 has Rick Ware Racing drivers James Davison and Joey Gase. Row 19 has Greg Gaulding in the 27 car and Timmy Hill in the number 66 Toyota. and round out the field is the 7 car of Josh Bilicki, and to his outside is the 78 car of Garrett Smithley. And now let's take a look at the odds to win tonight's race, courtesy of Bet Online. Denny Hamlin is at the top of the board with a 9-2 shot at winning. Chase Elliott, who nearly won the race back in May in a fierce battle with Joe Logano with a 5-1 shot. Kevin Harvick, who has had the best season so far out of any driver in 2020 with an 11-2 chance, as well as Brad Keselowski, a former night race at Bristol race winner and NASCAR's newest playoff contender for the championship. Kyle Busch is entering this race with a 6-1 chance, while rival Joe Logano is with a 9-1 chance. His teammate Ryan Blaney with a 10-1 shot, Clint Bowyer with a 14-1 chance, and Kurt Busch with a 16-1 shot at winning, as well as Martin Truex Jr., Austin Dillon with an 18-1 shot, Jimmy Johnson with a 22-1 shot, Eric Jones 25-1, and then Alex Bowman and Eric Almirola both with a 40-1 chance of winning, William Byron and Matt DiBenedetto both with a 51 shot, and finally Christopher Bell, the rookie, enters into this race with a 66-1 chance at winning this race. And finally, let's take a look at the playoff grid for the round of 16 heading into today's race. Kevin Harvick and Brad Keselowski, they are already locked in due to their wins at Darlington and Richmond, respectively. Denny Hamlin, he locks in on points. He comes into this race with a 64-point gap, and he has enough points to secure himself into the round of 12 due to having a lot of playoff points. Joe Logano is the first driver that has not advanced into the round of 12. He has a 51-point gap. Fifth place is Martin Truex Jr., 38 points. Austin Dillon, a newcomer out of nowhere, has had a stellar round of 16 so far. He is now 6th on the grid, 36 points above the cut line. Hendrick teammates Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman 7th and 8th, 28 points above for Elliott, 27 for Bowman. Kyle Busch only 18 points above the cut line. Eric Almirola and Kurt Busch 10th and 11th, both tied 7 points above. Clint Bowyer holds the final spot, 12th place, with a 3-point gap ahead of William Byron. Cole Custer not that far behind in 14th place with an 8-point gap, and 15th and 16th, they're going to need a big moment to happen in order for any of these two drivers to advance to the round of 12. Matt DiBenedetto 25 points below the cut line, and Ryan Blaney last, 27. Now usually when I do these race day videos, I talk about who I think is going to win this race or win a race. Well, in this episode, I'm going to decide, you know what, let's switch it up a bit. Instead of talking about who I think is going to win the race, I'm going to talk about which 4 are going to advance and which 4 will be eliminated. Because this is a very, very close battle. I know Matt DiBenedetto and Ryan Blaney, they're 25, 27 points below the cut line. They are really far back. But they still have shots. They're not completely screwed here. They still have shots at winning, potentially winning a race, or based on points, locking themselves into the round of 12 if some other driver has issues. So let's start off with the drivers I think are going to be safe. Right now, Joe Logano, Martin Truex Jr., Austin Dillon, Chase Elliott, and Alex Bowman, those drivers I feel like more than likely are safe. If they can just keep their nose clean and have a solid day, just like a top 12 finish, I think they'll be good to go. But then you start from 9th on back. Kyle Busch, 18 points above. Eric Almirola and Kurt Busch, 7 points above. And then Clint Bowyer, +3. They have to have a really good race just to ensure that nothing bad happens. Now, when we take a look at the bottom 4, William Byron -3, Cole Custer -8, DiBenedetto -25, and Blaney -27. That might seem not much, especially when you take a look at Byron and Custer's situation. I mean, -3 for Byron, -8 for Custer. That's nothing. But for DiBenedetto and Blaney, that's still a big gap. And the reason why is not because of, they can't get the job done. We know DiBenedetto, he's got speed at Bristol. We look back, I think, in 2016 or 2015, where he finished 6th for BK Racing. We look back at last fall, when he nearly won the night race at Bristol, led, I think, a majority of the last stage of that race before getting passed by Denny Hamlin. We know that DiBenedetto has speed to win at Bristol. Ryan Blaney might not, on paper, it might not look like it. He's really good at it, but he's led a lot of laps. We've seen him be able to be competitive, but a lot of times we either see him get caught up in someone else's mess, like I think in 2018 when he was leading the race and gets caught up in a lap car's wreck that takes him out of the race, or he gets in a situation that he caused on his own. So we know that DiBenedetto and Blaney, we know that they can get the job done. We know that they have speed and they can run well at Bristol. The problem is when you take a look at the drivers that are currently hold the last few spots. Kyle Busch has won at Bristol numerous times, 18 points above the cut line. We know he's going to run really good at Bristol. Eric Almirola, he's pretty consistent. I don't expect much change. I think he's going to stay in the top 10 throughout the whole night. Kurt Busch, also just like his brother Kyle, has won at Bristol numerous times. Clint Bowyer, since February of 2017, has had the best average finish out of any active driver with a 7.59, I believe, the exact average finish. So it's not the fact that the bottom four, they can't get in. It's just the fact that the final four are so good. That's the problem. If the final four was, let's say, well, I can't really say Austin Dillon anymore because of how good he has been these last few weeks. But let's just say if the last four drivers were drivers that you don't expect to run well, then I could quite possibly see a JettMDK or a Ryan Blaney making their way in on points because we know that they can run strong. But because of how strong these last four drivers are in this playoff grid, JettMDK and Blaney, they have to win. I just can't see, with the amount of competition for those final four spots, I just can't see them getting in on points. When you have Kyle Busch in the mix, when you have Kurt Busch in the mix, and Clint Bowyer in the mix at a track like Bristol, it's going to be very difficult to try and get by them based on points. I think for JettMDK and Blaney, a win is the only way to do it. And with how chaotic Bristol can be, it might be an issue for them to even make it to the finish line, especially Blaney. And that goes the same with Byron and Custer. Like I said, Bowyer runs really good there. Byron, he's not that good. And Custer, we can't really have a comparison with him because he's only run the Xfinity series. But when you look at Custer and Byron, and you put them up with Bowyer at a track like Bristol, or put them up with Kurt Busch at a track like Bristol, that is extremely difficult to pull off. And based on how horrific Byron was last weekend at Richmond, which is a short track, by the way, I don't know. I just don't have enough confidence in Byron pointing his way. Even though it's only 3 points. If everything runs smoothly and Bowyer doesn't have any issues and Kurt Busch doesn't have any issues and Eric Almirola, I just can't see Byron being able to point his way in without Bowyer and other drivers having some sort of issue. Same thing with Custer. Custer has been good, but not good enough, I think, for the round of 12, which is why my bottom four is going to be the exact same four that entered into this race here tonight. William Byron, Cole Custer, Matt DiBenedetto, and Ryan Blaney. I have those four drivers eliminated after tonight's race at the Bristol Motor Speedway. But it's Bristol, baby, so anything can happen. Anything can happen. Who knows? You might have like another edition of what we saw last fall. A driver that no one expected to win. Quite possibly, let's say, a Cole Custer or a DiBenedetto. Who knows? He could get redemption and win tonight's race. Or even a Ryan Blaney. Again, Ryan Blaney runs really good at this racetrack. A lot can happen here in this 500 lap race. So it should be a fun event. I cannot wait to see the Bristol Night Race and see how it plays out for the first time ever in a playoff event. It is sure going to be one hell of an event, especially when you take a look at the racing events that have transpired already this weekend. ARCA was really fun. And this is coming from a driver, and this is coming from a series which, at least this season, or actually these past few seasons, ARCA has been pretty poor. But this race was really, really fun to watch with Ty Gibbs and Sam Meyer. A lot of different contenders up near the front. The Truck Series is also fun to watch and see Sam Meyer actually win this race. Unbelievable how young this kid is, and he's already unbelievable how young this kid is and how little truck starts he has. I think he only had 7 truck starts when he won at Bristol. It's just amazing. Xfinity, don't even get me started on Xfinity. Xfinity is just the best of the best right now. Briscoe and Cindric, especially when Cindric was suffering with power steering, and it was still a dogfight. Also, you have to throw in Ross Chastain. I forgot about him as well. Overall, the races so far this weekend have been so much fun to watch, and I hope that this Cup race here tonight provides the same level of excitement as the previous races, if not better. But that is going to conclude this episode of MDK Race. I'm sorry if it was a bit shorter and I wanted to change it up a little bit. I'm not going to announce a winner for this race. I will get back to the normal format next weekend when the round of 12 begins. I think at Charlotte, if I'm not mistaken. No, Las Vegas. It was Las Vegas. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of MDK Race. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. And I'll see you guys next time.